Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Yep. Okay, so let's just start this 1 hour discussion, and I wanna address what you mentioned. That I wanna address in a more bigger vision. The question is how you design your business, okay, or where can we design our service. So the way I learned over the years is we design the business from the exit side. So if your business right now here, which is we call it the big donut, for some of us are not big donut, but in 5 years, when do you want to exit what you will do or what you will create? And how the exit will look like. So what's the exit look like to you? In 5 years, 10 years?
What would the business look like? Or
what the exit will look like?
In 5 years, I would like to be able to do seminars, like a weekend seminars, and limiting the one-on-one, so transitioning from one-on-one.
What's the exit? Exit means you don't do it anymore.
I don't want to exit. It's a social joy to me. So.
How you will exit the business you are building. This is how you can design the steps for it. You cannot say I cannot exit, because you have a health limitation, you will have a life limitation, you will have so many limitations.
Yeah, what happens?
You want your business to grow and then just die with you?
Oh, so training more coaches?
So you get 10,000 client base, okay, and you die. What happens to them? Does the program just collapse and disappear?
Got it.
Or do you transition to someone else?
I would have coaches that are trained that can take over the business and do most of the work.
And that's the exit.
Thank you.
So if you design the business from the exit backward, it will tell you what and where you do what you want to do and when you can do it.
Okay.
So if the exit here is to license to somebody else, okay, there is a strategy. If the exit will be stop, like what is the exit for a book?
What's the what?
The exit strategy of a book. If you write a book right now,
right,
what is your exit strategy? That you will sell some copies, and eventually you will stop and write a new book. That's right. So if I'm only an author or a writer or a reader or whatever it is, and I want to write a book, what's my potential exit? It's basically I will write my next book. Writing your next book means what? Means you stop from this book and writing your next book. So there are some individual will talk about takeover. So you may want to build a business that somebody will buy.
Like me.
Or acquire. Okay? Or you can be part of the acquisitions. So one of the biggest questions for bookkeeping and accounting businesses is why you guys don't have a big association. Not for CPA accountant, not for bookkeeper, for the business of bookkeeping and accounting together. And then everybody will be a franchise of this business. And then the barrier of entry of newcomers will be difficult. Okay? So we traditionally do work for businesses without having this visible. Some of us may come and say, you know what, like, I know, like, Marcel, sorry to pick on you. Sorry, this is an example, might be rational to you. So Marcel will decide, and you know what, I will do this life coaching, business coaching, as long as I don't have 1 or 2 major clients. to do maybe project management, which is not related to what he's doing. So, is there anything wrong with that?
No.
We cannot say it's wrong or good.
Right.
But we have to be honest. Like, are we doing this till the next opportunity will show up? Some people will come and say, you know what, I will be business coach, life coach till what? Till I find a job. That's right. There are some people like you met some people like this, right?
Of course, yes.
We had so many people around this table during the downturn, and none of them is doing any work related to what they were talking about it during the downturn. Like Braveen and these people, like they went to do something else. There's an individual who approached me and he wants to build this fasting nutritional program, which is he's dying about it. And then what he found is he cannot survive, so he went and he's selling now insurance. Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
The only thing wrong with that is if you are not honest with yourself during the time, you will be fooling yourself and other people around you. But there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with me coming and saying, you know what? I will do this. I don't like the word trying to avoid the word try. But I will do this for like a couple of months or a couple of years. And on my spare time, I will apply for all kinds of jobs. And if I found a job at McDonald's that accept me, I will basically do the McDonald's job to pay this. And the one who didn't make it today, and he's running a workshop here on every Monday now at 6 to 9 o'clock. What is his name?
Kevin?
Okay.
Kevin, yeah.
I saw a
Yeah.
post with a
Yeah.
well-known
So,
surrounding.
so Kevin came and he had a very successful youth program. He ran the first session. He had 10 customers in, all of them paying him money as youth warrior. And then he said, I want money. He went to practice sales in a car sales dealership, and they fired him. And he came back. I said, like, just follow your passion. Let's get the second program in. He had the second program in, and it seems reasonably required and admired by people. And then I got him for 3 days in an event where he was able to recruit more leads for his program, because this is basically we were in a university, we were on campus, so he can get this youth, which is so. This is an example. So it doesn't matter. Nothing is wrong with whatever you want to do here. Maybe you say till I get married. I don't know. Whatever it is, as long as you have your exit clear and you're honest with yourself, you don't have to disclose it to us. You can plan everything else. Okay? Make sense? By the way, the activities you will do are similar. Exact same for any of these 5 exits. But there will be different positioning. We cannot set up the activity to lead, but we can position it. So, for example, if you license a program in 5 years from now, what you want to do to make sure people are interested into licensing? What's the requirement for licensing? You will show them you have enough interest, enough customers. That's right. You have an original program, and the program is not related to you. It doesn't have your name to it. So Landmark Forum is a good example, because when you license Landmark Forum, or when you license Big Potential, you run on your own. Action Coach is another example. When you license Action Coach, or you license Landmark, it has no name to it. But can you license Tony Robbins? Can you license Deepak Chopra? Can you license? No. So, if you want a license, there are some requirements need to be. You must be original. What do you mean original? You must not, if you even have learning from other programs, the learning has to be differentiated from the other program. So when I come and offer like sales and the closing deal, I say, yeah, there is Brian Tracy sales programs, there is Colin sales programs. My program has some original component, which is basically the ingredient of mindless compliance. And mindless compliance, the pillars, they come from the persuasion knowledge, but it was modeled in a different way, much easier than the 4 persuasion corners. And I put these graphics and these images, which is original to me and to the market. So when somebody come and license my program in 5 years, they will get unique content, original enough, different than others. I have trademark on what I'm doing, so I can do it. If you are doing something and you plan to stop, to survive to plan to stop, you will need to have customers. That's right. You need to have differentiation of content, different content, so people can come to you. You don't care too much about this. You can name it Bakri Healer, or you can name it Marcel, whatever. Marcel Coaching, right? Or you can call it Mike Next Step, or the next step with Mike. Okay? So, is there a difference between what you do during the day, during the daily activity between here and here? Most likely not. The same activities you will do it every time are the same, but the positioning and the ingredients are a little bit different. You'll still give the one-on-one, you'll still give the seminar, you'll still give the workshops, you'll still give the 10 days, 10 sessions or a program or whatever. However, you will not be talking here, you will not talking about your name. That's right, because nobody can license your name. It will create a barrier of entry for people to license. Okay? Similar to here, if you want to plan to somebody to take it over or to buy the business, so for example, Personal Best have been acquired from somebody, and I know the original creator of Bill, which is
Jay.
No, the original creator is Brian.
Brian.
And Brian Lee, and Jay bought it from Brian Lee.
Oh.
Okay, so Brian is for me more than a mentor, and he's like more than a big brother as well. Somebody is very important for me to have a connection with it on a weekly basis right now. So when you build a program and the program is successful, somebody may come and pay money for it and take it over. So if you want to have this, you need to have the same. You need to have the customers proven. You need to have some original or uniqueness to it, and you shouldn't relate to your name, because you cannot give somebody your name programs, right? So always the question, how the exit looks like. Do you want to make it an institute where everybody comes to work for you? Like, what's wrong of building it as an institute or a huge clinic, a huge holistic clinic, and people will come to get life coaching from you? One form of that is ICF, when they do this accreditation or this kind of training to get more coaches. So having a syndication or association, it's one of the exits. So the first one who did the ICF, I strongly believe he was running his own program, and then he found out that you need to have some kind of quality or some kind of training, and then he built it. Make sense? So what is the exit of each one of you in their own program? If you want to get your kids to inherit it, it will be taking over. So what is the what the exit look like? Can you just write down your potential exit?
License.
So take over is not sell.
No, take over means sell.
Selling.
Selling or leaving it for your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
No, I thought you said takeover was acquisition.
Selling it, or if somebody will acquire you, you sell. That's right.
No, I thought you meant expansion.
No, take over. I meant somebody will take the business over from you.
Okay.
Like
So yeah,
just wash your hands off it.
right. Okay.
Okay, with some money or with some benefits, or just if you pass it over to your kids, you pass it over to your kids.
Yeah.
So can each one take like 2 minutes and write down how this takeover? There's some papers you can. How this takeover, or how this licensing, or how, if you can't say no, you know what, I'm not interested in somebody to buy it, but I want to do this and I want to move to a different business later on, it means you want to stop.
Sure. What do you want us to?
Just scramble down what is your plan for the new program you want to put together. Plan on one of these or two, and let's discuss it from that point. What do you want to happen? What do you like to see in 5 to 10 years, or when you want to stop doing what you want to do? So who wants to share?
We can go.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. So my exit strategy would be licensing it to other people, and those people would be coaches that work for me for a long period of time to be able to carry the same vision and the same passion.
Okay.
And when I'm able to do that, I will transition back into one-on-one, working with bigger clients, delivering massive results to their organizations.
Okay. And Marcel, you want to share?
Looking at creating out of it an institute or university, and then sell it.
Okay. Mike, you.
Yeah, I kind of had something similar. License a program so that others can continue to market it, kind of like a train-the-trainer situation,
Okay.
and also take over the selling at a value that would sustain my retirement.
Okay. So if you want to do a license or you want to create an institute, what people will buy from you? If I want to come from you to buy a license, what I'm buying?
You're buying the program and the clients.
Are you buying the program as a client? If you are selling me a license, what I'm buying?
You're buying
The-
the training material, the
Which
process.
Excellent. I was looking for this word. So if somebody is coming here to buy a license from me, I need to be very clear on the process. So if all of you are looking for the licensing as an option, the immediate question is, how much time do you spend on writing down the process? So Bakri, how long do you spend on writing down the process?
0.
Okay.
It's all
Even
about
your message is what?
the process.
I will put myself in your shoes,
Right.
and I will provide you the tools. So it's all about you, which is Bakri. All about Bakri putting himself in my shoes, although we have different shoe sizes. And Bakri, he has his tools, which he will lend to me to use. So you are not providing a coherent message which shows that your system can be used and done by somebody other than you.
Sure.
Given we have no limitation of money, no limitation of time, no limitation of brain. So if you sit and teach me your system, and you still say you will be in my shoes and share with me your unique tools, how this will translate for somebody to be this a standard process, so I can come and be like you. Make sense? So does anybody write down the process of what he's doing? And the process connotation to it is what we call it the blueprint. So how can I build the process along the way? So do you have a guidance or a manual to run a session like what you run?
Not yet. No.
So the easiest approach is to have a manual, or to have what? A workbook. That's right.
I do.
I know you do.
You're German.
I know the German way. I know you do. But
Well organized.
when I started what I was doing, and I had in my mind that, you know what, at certain point I'd like one of my partners or one of anybody who can come if I'm sick, he can run the show. I start to look considerably into the workbook space. And I start saying, it doesn't matter how long is the workbook can be for like a 3-hour session. How long the workbook can be for a 3-hour session. It can be just as simple as 1 page. It can be as simple as double-sided 1 page. It can be as long as 8 to 12 to 16 pages workbook. It can be 236. This is the largest one I have. It's 236 pages workbook for 3 days workshop. Do I go through the whole material? No. I go through selected pieces and I say, the extra scripts, you can do it on your own. And I use the scripts from now and then when we have workshops and work groups. So having a comprehensive workbook at certain point, it may be useful if you do lots of group training, because if you do group work and you came up with the material. So this girl from Toronto, when she asked me, she said, do you have a content to cover half a 3 hours workshop? I told her, yeah, you know what? I do have content to cover 400 hours of video. So literally, this is like how long? They're like, this literally 10 weeks. So she was surprised and like, yeah, you know what? I can start talking today. In 10 weeks, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, I will be talking. And 8 hours a day, me talking means 10 to 12 hours workshop a day, because we will have food and coffee break and so forth. And I will basically run them for 2 months and a half. She said, really? I said, yeah, to make it interesting to you, if I add more activities in between, we can make activities in the same amount of time, so I can basically run workshops for 5 months, non-stop. All the content will be new. Because 3-4 years ago, when I started to look at, and I think Marcel was one of the early adopter, and Marcel seen how the work group books different workbooks have been evolving, and some of them used to have grammar mistakes, that's right, and some of them used to have a structure mistakes, and some of them used to have typos, and some of them, I don't know why these paragraphs start to be scrambling, and with the next workshop the workbook became enhanced, and then we bring in all these ISBN numbers and all this potential copyright protection as well. I brought it in to try to work on protecting this material for me. The other part of the workbook, if you come in and you have a workbook and you will work on the workbook, I can provide you a personalized experience, right? Because it's your own working in the workbook, that's right, not mine. So when you promise a personalized experience here and you give the same question and people will write it down, the workbook will be personalized for their problems. So if you ask them, okay, don't tell me, just write down, how do you feel now? Let's work together. Can you summarize how your mind is changing? And they write it down. Between these 2 points, these individuals can see because they wrote it down. You don't need to convince them of your value. So if I plan my program, I can keep talking about the value of this because not everybody like to have something like this. Okay? Part of the process as well is to have an input or an inquiry or assessment or test to get in. That's right. So when somebody was coming in, do you have the 10 questions type? You will ask them, written somewhere. So do you have them? So this coming in, or whatever you call it, first assessment, whatever you call it, it's very important because when somebody is coming in and then when they exit, they have an exit questionnaire, they can see and they can agree on the quantitative value of what you do. So sometimes people will come in, okay, so how big is your business? They say that we are doing 0, or we are basically doing like less than $1,000 a month. When we work together and they start to see $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, we always remind them that you had less than $1,000 when you came in. You can also quantify that your fees are within a reasonable range. So if somebody, you can get him from 1,000 to 10,000 a month, you are making him what? $9,000 more. So it's legitimate for him to pay you $2,000 to $3,000 because the learning after your first year is what? Is his own learning. So he will keep doing it, that's right? So if you don't do this in the business, it's okay. You do it in life coaching. You must be able to quantify this in life coaching. Like we had this discussion, Mike, last time when you said people may leave out like $30,000 in their taxes because they do wrong allocations of their expenses or whatever, they take the money. So if you sit with someone and you show them a free evaluation of your current taxes, show that you can save a room of $30,000, it's legitimate to him to ask for $5,000 to $10,000 on this particular claim. People will accept that, that's right? People will accept to pay between 10% to 33% or 40% of the gain because they cannot do it on their own or with their current structure, that's right? So this is one thing. Do you agree that you need to have a process laid out?
I agree, yes.
So if you plan to license, you need to have the process. This is one of, okay? Now, if you plan for somebody to take it over, why they will take it over? Why they will take over this business?
Mostly because of the warm leads they're going to acquire.
So if somebody's taking over, you need to have warm leads. You need to have large and long customer list. Alternatively, they can acquire this because you have a unique content. You have a technology and the content that they can use it with their current base, with their current customer base. So one of the speakers yesterday was Keb, and I know Keb for 15, 20 years. And Keb used to run, he ran a company which got acquired by Garmin, and his customers used to be Nike. And he put electronics in shoes, in running shoes. Now with his new company, he's putting electronics in bikes. So he was very clear. He said, if you are a technology company and you have money in the bank, you take the money and hire a new technical engineer. If you have $100,000, hire a new engineer. Don't say this new engineer has no task to do, because he will create more technology for you. So if somebody is coming to buy a technology company, are they come to buy it for their customer list and their contract, or they coming buying for their technology? So they come to buy for their technologies, right? Because they have the list of where they. Okay? Make sense?
Yes.
So the other question is, where and how will you sell? So if you want a license, which is majority of you guys here would like to license it, or somebody to sample, so where your customers should be. So there are two strategies. Right now we get all kinds of customers, right? Exception to be individuals who run like Canadian content or Canadian service, they're only limited to Calgary or Canada. However, the rest of us get customers from everywhere. New Zealand, Australia, Saudi, Egypt, Europe, Germany, it doesn't matter. We just keep getting people from wherever we want. That's right. But if we want a license, why people will license this technology or this program from you? Are they licensing it to serve the same customer base, or they are licensing to serve local customers for them?
For local customers.
Local customers, right? So when you sell, you need to sell to who? To your local customer.
Does that apply to me though?
No, because your local customer is Calgary. Yeah, it also can apply to you, because if you want to open the same business in Edmonton, how many customers do you have from Edmonton? One or two is okay, it doesn't count, but how many customers do you have from Edmonton?
Very few.
Very few, that's right. So very few doesn't count. But if you wanna open Edmonton, can you find a partner in Edmonton who will run the business in Edmonton?
Sure.
And you just collect from him licensing fees or franchising fees. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the beauty of your business name, we don't know is the month or is the season or is your family name. So I love this name, you know, like when you have this very wide names, which can be like it's season or months or family name. So if I plan to license my program to individuals who take over other territories, I have to be active where? In my territories or in their territories?
In their territories.
Marcel, what's your answer?
First, I have to be active in my territory in order to prove
Right,
that
yeah.
that I do
Yeah.
that I'm able to gain those local customers, and then I have to reach out by marketing into other areas in
Yeah,
order to
I'm
get
right.
those people on
Okay.
board.
I gotta be active in my territory.
So if I want to plan to license in 3 to 5 years, I have to be more active selling where? In my territories. Now, somebody will come and say, oh, you know what, but I could not find anybody in Calgary and I got so many people from Chicago. It doesn't matter. Define your territories as Calgary and Chicago. It doesn't matter. Both of them start with C. It doesn't matter. You can sell in Calgary and you sell in Arizona. It doesn't matter. Sell in Alberta and sell in Arizona. Both of them start with, don't have the alphabet A and C, but the point is, if you are focused your marketing, if you are focusing your market on customers in a specific region, what you can do next? You can open up the other regions. Okay? So I have the same dilemma. People come to me and say, oh, we can run these workshops in Toronto. I said, yes, great. I'm not really interested, but I'm interested. I'm not interested to go to Toronto. I'm interested in somebody over there I can pass on the information with, I can work with them, and they can do what? Have the same concepts, same program, same learning, same teaching. Where? In Toronto. I'm willing to go stand with them for 6 months. I'm willing to be the face over there, but I'm not willing to be the primary driver. I would still rather to come back to Calgary, to be more focused on Calgary. Okay? Because if you want a license, you have to understand where is your territories. How many of us believe that their program can serve anybody, everywhere, anywhere, at any age? Almost all of us. That's right. The lowest hanging fruit for the license is that you start in your local territory. So when you want to run ad or you want to attract your customers, you have to attract them from where?
Local market.
From a local territories.
Okay.
What's your local territories look like? What's the name of the local territories? Is it Calgary? Is it Alberta? Is it Western Canada? Is it Western North America? Is it Alberta and Alabama? Is it Alberta and Saskatchewan? I don't know. You define your local territory, and once you define your local territory, you'll do it. You will market there. When you market your local territory, what you will be doing? You will be spending lower number of dollars. That's right. And what about your effort? What about your time? If you focus on a local territory, are you spending more money or less money? Are you making less effort or more effort? Are you putting more time or less time marketing?
Your effort is more focused and just spending your time at the local market, so you're more present in that location.
I don't think you'd spend more or less. I think you'd spend the same amount of time. Just more, again, focused.
Focused, yeah.
More focused, right?
Yeah.
So, does this answer the question, where do we market?
Yes.
I know you may not be happy with it because majority of when they start, you always sell in locally, and they are your friends, so you give them lots of free, and you don't have the courage to charge them. That's right. And we can talk about this. Like, if you have the forms, if you have the signing sheets, if you have the inquiry sheets, what will happen there? People will fill it. People will sign it. People will put money. If people will value what you do, people will pay you for it. And if you come and say, I had a session and somebody negotiate, and this came a couple of times over the last month. So there are a couple of individuals who serve individuals, and then when they present the invoice, people are actually negotiating with them. So if somebody is negotiating with you after he got the service, what does it mean?
After you got the service?
Yes. What does it mean?
They're not happy with the service. They're not satisfied.
That's right.
Okay.
So how to make them happy and satisfied with your service?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
This is the simplest answer to it.
What?
How to make somebody happy and satisfied with your service? By asking them, are you happy? Are you satisfied? Is this what you are looking for? can you apply this transformation for the rest of your life? Will this change your life? Will this help your business? And if they said yes, it means what?
They're going to pay. They're not going to ask questions.
And if they said no, what you do?
What can I do to make it worth a while for you?
What other boxes we did not check?
Yeah.
Let me know what did I.
What was your expectations?
Yeah. What? So you can realign them.
Right.
So if you have a session with anybody at any time, you should be able to articulate what values they get and get from them the information. You can use can you reflect? Like in a working group, usually we have reflections every time, right?
Right.
Majority of the time I come and say, was this helpful? Majority of the time I come and say, can you use this? Can you apply it? It becomes for me natural now. It becomes natural. I don't plan to use this language. But because I use it so often now, it's always in even one-on-one on a side of a bar, say in the bar or a beer event, and somebody's asking me for some feedback or input, I provide. I say, how can you apply this? Is this helpful for you? Does it make sense to you? Do you like it? Do you get it? Do you have questions? It becomes natural.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I start to see like more engagement with individuals because I basically ask this question. Make sense?
It does. I follow the same thing too. When I meet with clients, I make sure, because sometimes it feels, for me, I feel like I'm bombarding with so much information. I want to make sure that I explain it clearly enough, and so I request that feedback. Does that make sense? I know I fed you a lot of information, give me questions. And then it helps me bring them to the point of pricing as well.
Yep.
Right. So now I've answered all their questions. They've voiced to me that I've answered their questions, and then so the final pricing part is just the next step. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next question will be is, what are the approaches to market in the local territories? So what are the approaches to market here? And this is general, this is not significant for this, and each one of these will have the same approach. So what is the best marketing ever? Word of mouth. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Word of mouth is the best marketing ever. Okay? So if I market using word of mouth, what I would do? I will get more people accepting this recommendation. So the next one will be what? I can use flyers. Can you post flyers in the local locations where people will go? So I used to have my own flyers, and I used to go to every Starbucks, every Subway, every Safeway, every place I can get my hand on, and I put my flyers on the wall. Make sense? I can run online presence, like online Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages. I can run groups. And if I target the local market, my advertisement here will be where?
Online.
In the local
Oh,
segment.
got it.
Okay? How else I can market my program? I can also make videos on my program, on my YouTube. How else can I market my program? I can run seminars. I can run webinars. I can run local workshops. That's right. I can give out books. And on the way of books, if you have books, we have a table in the When Word Collides under Win Your Brand. And if you want to have any promo material around books or anything relevant to publishers, let me know, because this is August 10 to August 12, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's in Delta Hotel South by
What's the function?
When Words Collide.
Words or worlds?
Words.
Words.
Yes. It's a festival for readers and authors, and I'm actually giving a 1 hour workshop on Friday on how to market your books. And the Win Your Brand have a table. It's very hard to get a table. The waiting line there is like 3 years. So if you want to have a table, but I was lucky, I was in the right time, right location, right, with the right $100 in my pocket. The table is only $100, okay? But if you have the $100, you cannot get a table. So I was all the right parameter in a place. They said we are looking for 2 more vendors. I said now we are looking for only 1 more. I'm in, and I didn't know what to do with it. I said like it's something valuable, and I end up having the table. So yeah. So if you have books or you have announcement of new books, or you wanna even, I believe we may have an extra pass to the sessions, because the table usually is too. So if you want to have attending some sessions and you cannot pay for pass anymore because they are sold out. Let me know. I may have a pass so you can come attend some sessions, and we can organize whoever will do it.
I'm in Kelowna that weekend.
Okay. So, which one of these activities you are not doing it right now?
Most of them.
All but number 1.
All but number 1. So the question now is to take this to action, because we can keep talking about this for so long and nothing will happen. What is the lowest hanging fruit? Like if you can rate from 1 to 3, what is the easiest one you can do? Can you pick up the easiest 3 you can do?
Having presence online, like Facebook or LinkedIn.
Okay, so market 1. If this is the easiest one, is this easier than the flyer?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What content do you need for having the online presence?
Blogs, video material, and I'm comfortable.
What is the least one you need?
Just a regular post, a picture and
Words.
Words, yes.
What does a flyer will do? What's the content of a flyer?
Just words on print material.
Okay.
Okay.
So the point I want to say is, you should consider flyers to be number 1, and if you want to do Facebook, could be number 2. You cannot come and say, no, I will do the online presence. Okay? Because the same words you need it here for the online presence, you can always have it as flyers, right? Make sense?
Isn't the cost lesser though in the online presence? Like if we're gonna add a blog post to your site?
There is a cost of having the site running. And we did not say how many flyers we will print. You may only have 1 flyer. The point I want to say is, if someone foresee the online presence is number 1, is easy to do, and say flyer is difficult, I say no. You should be able to have the flyer content right away, which basically what you do, who you are, what's your offer, and then get the same information and put it inside this Facebook. So which one is easier, Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or what? Which one is easier for you?
Facebook.
And then what's the next one?
Instagram.
Okay. So for you, between today and Monday morning, your homework is to complete the flyer, to do the Facebook, and to do the Instagram. This is your number 1, 2, 3. Mike, what's your number 1, 2, 3?
Don't know. That's where I get stuck. I don't know what the content should be on each. I mean, to put them down and say this is a meeting, that's one thing. But what the content should be, my mind just scrambles.
So what I'm looking for here is, if you say that flyer is the easiest one to do, I can do it.
Yeah.
You can look at the content of a flyer.
Okay.
So you take it from today till you go back to work on Monday morning.
Okay.
Or if you have an emergency today, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to do it, if you want to work on it during the week, so you have a priority from leaving today that you will do 1, 2, 3. This is the whole target of this exercise. You learn a little bit about how you can license using a process. You give you some insights about the local market. Now, if you want to communicate the message, how you can communicate the message using any of these. Workshop and the full program is difficult. It's a complex. It's a bigger project. What is the simplest activity you can do?
I don't know how to create an online presence in Facebook.
You basically can create a Facebook page
Okay.
for your program.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you wanna, what's the element of a Facebook page?
Well,
Facebook.
I have a Facebook page. I just don't know how I should use it.
So if you have a Facebook page, can you?
I don't know what content would be relevant on the page, because the manner in which it was used in the past may be different than the way I need to use it in the future.
So you should start first with a flyer about what you want to use in the future,
Okay.
because you are in a redefining moment of what you do. That's right.
Right.
So if you are repositioning what you do, you should first start with a flyer
Okay.
or with a paper and a pen design of what's your flyer look like. Now, what is the content? Where do you get the content of this flyer?
From the questions you asked us to satisfy.
The content of this flyer, remember the product sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benefits, features, extras,
Okay.
add-ons, bonus,
Plus what?
plus
Plus an image, plus a call to action.
and everything with the like 4 quadrants of the written with the 4 quadrants of
So,
value, relationship, process, and time.
yeah. So, do you have a product sheet for what you are offering? Did you fill your product sheet? Kind of. If you did not fill your product sheet, go revisit it, and then are you now convinced that you have a flyer a content for a flyer?
Sure.
Do you know how to use Microsoft Word?
Yeah.
Can you type on it and add it? Can you go to? It's not difficult, right? Can you commit to do it?
What was the content for the product sheet again? Would you?
Benefits, features, extras, add-ons, and bonus. Written in the language, looking after the 4 quadrants of value, relationship.
You have somebody
Process
that can deliver your
and
program
time.
right there. I'm telling you why. You have somebody that can.
But he's not interested. He's always looking for this other contract, man.
Okay.
Working on it.
That's good.
So,
How to buy a license?
so when you have the product sheet, you'll also need who you are, like what's your value. So there are some other components, but the point I want to say, if you have a product sheet for your service, you should be able to have a flyer for your service. What's the content of the Facebook text? Where it will come from? It will come again from the product sheet. That's right.
Yeah.
What's the content of the Instagram? It will come from the product sheet.
What's an Instagram?
Instagram is something similar to Facebook,
Isn't it just a picture?
but there are some writing as well. If you want to build a profile for you should use the same information, because there's a profile area where you can put your information there. If I recall when I did it before.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you know what? For me, whenever I share myself on Facebook, why I didn't do it on Instagram first? Because Instagram shared to Facebook.
Yeah.
So I always so fast with the Facebook app. Again, is the Instagram app.
Yeah,
Any
they have new stuff too, right? With IGTV coming up or already there, where you can post videos which are up to 10 minutes long now.
Okay, it used to be one or 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's now IGTV. It's called. It's a new app, standalone app, but you can do it also from Instagram, like with 10-minute videos.
Does each one of you has at least 3 marketing pieces you can do till the next meeting? Okay. So, in summary today, we talked about how to design a program from an exit point of view. I believe you discovered the process is one of them. And if you want to market it, you should market to a local territories, because you want to license in the other territories as well. You can define your local territory wherever you define it. You can define it in Europe, you can define it in Calgary, you can define it wherever you want. But you have to focus on a territory to create enough mass of customers. And this will cut the cost, time, and effort as well. And when we look at how we market with any of these tools. And these tools, if you pick up one or like the easiest 3 for you to do during your time, you can pull the information from the product sheet to it. What will happen if you're done with the 3 and you want to do more tools? What you will do? You will keep going through the list. That's right. So if you've done Facebook, if you've done Instagram, you can do LinkedIn, you can do YouTube channel, you can do whatever you want. That's right. It all starts with flyers, with written material for printed purpose. You may not ever print it. Okay? Any more questions? Is it clear? Okay. So it's almost noon right now, and if anyone wants to say last things, we can. Otherwise, I wish you very productive weeks, the coming 2 weeks. Remember, summer is the best time to be able to produce new material because customers are not around, so we can remodel and reshape our page. Okay? Any more questions or discussions?
So when you look at the exit, is there a dollar value there? Is there what defines
You
that?
can put the value.
Like, I mean, I put enough for me to sustain
You can put a dollar value there,
retirement, right?
and you will find out that the dollar values on the customers are much lower than the technology. So if you have a process in place,
Right.
people will come by it.
Right.
But if you have a customer list, people will not care about it.
Well, that's the way the accounting industry is. People are always buying clients, right? They're always buying that goodwill and they're returning clients.
Because the process is defined. But if you have innovation in the process,
Yeah.
it will make it different. Or a process maintained by quality. So the large accounting firm, they always promise quality, which it doesn't, or specialty. So the lady I know, she's doing this tracking accounting.
Yeah.
It's a very special accounting.
Yeah.
Somebody will, I don't think anybody else in town can do tracking accounting, in my mind. I'm not sure. The two individuals who are doing it in town here, they are the only one doing it. And they keep tracking it, and they have the process, they have the system in place
Yeah.
for that. So if somebody will acquire them, they will acquire them for the system.
Yeah, we've done it. It's just that there's different rules for truckers. And
Yep. So they are very specialized in truckers. They only do trucking.
Yeah.
They don't do anybody else.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah.
Makes sense? Did you find it today useful?
Absolutely.
Always remember, process means blueprint. which is what the folder, what everything we've been doing in the program. It means manuals, it means workbooks, it means questionnaires and sheets, it means you should document what you do. Okay?
Perfect. Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.